In what way does this relate to the issues of today? So some contemporary issues with labor in this country. Only 12.9% of Americans are actually part of a union. Jobs are being outsourced out of this country. And people are working hard and still making less. You know, wages, it's common for wage freeze or to have rampant job cuts in this country. So what are some issues that are relevant to you as working people in this society? You'll spend more, other than sleeping, you'll spend more of your life working than doing anything else. Has anybody had any labor-related issues that they've encountered?
Well, I know my mom works on the line at General Motors, and I know that because the white-collar workers were not unionized, like they cut way more white-collar workers percentage-wise than they did with any kind of layoffs, I mean that kind of thing. I know they've shut down lots of plants otherwise.
Right.
I know specifically this plant, the Kansas City one, they cut a third of the white-collar workers because they weren't unionized, whereas they couldn't do that to the people who were actually making the cars because the UAW. So
That's right.
My mom last year got laid off from her job, and she'd been working for 20-some years. She's a credit card collector. But because they wanted to cut the wages down in half and hire younger people, they forced her to retire. And that's been happening a lot in America.
That's true. And with jobs being outsourced, people's wages being cut, people losing their jobs, some people question if it's a good thing that unions were successful in this country, because it's caused the people in power in this capitalist society to look elsewhere for cheap labor. So I pose this question, and anybody can answer. If FDR didn't step in at that point and use the strength of the federal government to shoot down the business owner's agenda, would we have, or if unions were not as successful as they were from that point on, would we have, what kind of labor issues would we have today? Would we just be complaining about poor conditions, but would have more jobs in this country?
There'll probably be more poor conditions and more jobs. But the wages probably be just as bad as they are now,
Yeah.
if not less.
Good.
I mean, me personally, I don't like unions. It's just me. Well, I've never really been a part of one.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard, like, especially with me being a convicted felon, there is no union for us, or nobody really to speak out for us too, because they say that there is no job, but there's jobs out there that make it so hard to obtain a job. You know, we got people, because I can give you 100 people right now that are 50 felons that are willing to work, and basically work for nothing just to have a job.
Right.
But we still can't get jobs.
My husband, he's a labor worker, and he works hard to try to get union jobs. The fact that if he doesn't get a union job, his job can be there today and not be there tomorrow. So, you know, for him, being in a labor society, that's all he looks for is to try to find to get into a union job, because he knows that with labor workers, it comes and goes.
Does anybody know what the largest union in this country is? Yeah.
What is it? AFL-CIO?
AFL-CIO, American Federation of Labor, yeah. The one with the greatest numbers is the teachers union, but there's actually written in their union contracts that it's illegal for them to strike. Well, of course, they don't follow that. And if you'll notice, in all of these instances, these citizens feel compelled to break laws in order to get what they consider more fair laws. So, with that in mind, do you agree with that perspective? That in this country, as a citizen, that it's sometimes inevitable for you to break a law in order to make the conditions better, get the right law, so to say, a better law, an improved law?
Yeah.
Is violence and physical force a means to an end? No. Do you think they would have been successful if they hadn't used violence? Could they have done peaceful strikes only?
There weren't enough numbers for that to work. If the entire, if half people in the United States go on strike because they all belong to the same union, then that certainly would work very quickly, or even if it was 10% of the population, but unions are usually not even 1% of the population, so you need significant numbers in order for that to work.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Before they had the great train strike, didn't they have a large influx of Chinese people that worked the railroads?
Which, of course, this is a major constant issue in this country's labor history, is the influx of immigrants into the country. And they're willing to work at cheaper rates than those workers who were previously here. And so they're brought into the factories or working on the railway system instead of those who were already here and with jobs. So you get more of that divide in this country, because even though they are on the same level economic status, racial issues are used, so to say, or utilized to cause a divide amongst the masses. So that's a common theme in this country's history. Is the federal government or large business owners powerful enough to cause a divide so severe as they have, where racial issues, racism was not laid on a hate foundation, but rather laid on economic profitability?
Yeah, they're powerful enough, they have money.
Mm-hmm. Is that all? Is that what it takes? Just the money and influences?
Yeah.
Is how it's always been. You know, that's how it's always been in this country. So, time's almost up here. Any questions?
Yeah, let me quickly three things briefly, and then you complete the forms for him. Remember, he's going to be evaluated by what he has presented. So I'll advise you to do all you can. I think it's a great presentation. John,
Yes.
Quickly, number one, Nat Turner.
Yes, Nat Turner was part of the Stono Rebellion.
Or was he?
Yes,
So
he was
I
a
wanted you
preacher,
to mention about Nat Turner.
Yeah, he was the organizer of the Stono Rebellion. He was a...
I'm sorry with due respect to you, because of your time constraint, another class will soon be here, and I know you have goodies for them to
Yeah.
enjoy.